Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and today I have some Recon gameplay, some real aggressive Recon gameplay, not that bolt-action rifle stuff, which everyone I think mistakes aggressive Recons for being as, but using the appropriate setup and the appropriate weapons for that role. I think there's a lot of people out there that truly do think that the only way for you to play as a Recon is to use the bolt-action rifles and play, and the aggressive aspect of that is to try to quickscope people up close and personal. And while that can be very satisfying and you can be very efficient with it if you have tens of hours to play Battlefield 3, but for a lot of people out there, they don't have the time to do so. And so today I wanted to talk about the semi-automatic rifles, how to use them appropriately, and how they are just vastly superior to the bolt-action rifles if you do want to play that more aggressive Recon role. So these semi-automatic rifles, right off the bat, the main benefit of them is that they have a faster rounds per minute. And why this is good for you and why this is going to make your life a lot easier when you get into those tight close encounter engagements is that it gives you a lot more room for air. The bolt-action rifle is very flashy. You get in there, get a nice quick scope off, it's extremely satisfying, but it's not very reliable. If you miss that one shot, the enemy, 90% of the time, is going to blow your face off and you're going to die. I mean, maybe every once in a while you can switch on over to your pistol, and if you're using the Magnum, you can get a nice little headshot off and to finish them. But it doesn't happen very often. But when you switch on over to the semi-automatic rifle, that one shot does not mean the difference between life and death. You can get at least 3, 4, even 5 shots off before that engagement, that firefight has been completed. And not only that, but they also have a very high damage model. Not as high as the bolt-action rifles, granted. If that was the case, then they would be a little overpowered. But it's enough that if you're using any one except for the SKS, it's kind of the oddball one out for this classification of weapon for the Recon class. But if you're using any of the other semi-automatic rifles and you're within 15 meters, you shoot him in the head, it's a one-shot kill. You shoot him in the chest, it's gonna drop them in 2 shots. And if they're anything further out than that, and you get a body shot, it's only gonna take you 3 shots. These are some of the most consistent weapons in Battlefield 3, and if you get good with them, it doesn't matter what engagement your target is in. If they're 20 meters out or if they're 50 meters out, if your accuracy is good and you know that every single one of your shots are gonna land, you put 3 down range, the target is going to die. And there's not a lot of weapons out there that can claim that, and it's that type of consistency which is why I love them so much. It just completely takes all the guesswork out of things because you know how many bullets it's going to take to drop them no matter what range they are, and it's just that kind of comfort that I really like in a weapon. So now that you kind of have an understanding as to why I like these guns so much and why I prefer them for that aggressive Recon action, well, how do you use them appropriately? Because I find that a lot of people, when they get their hands on them, they go a little crazy. And one of the things I notice the most is that they will spam the trigger finger like mad. They're trying to get the fullest out of the rounds per minute, thinking that's going to be the best way to take out their targets, is just to get as many bullets down range as possible. And while that might work when you're really up close and personal, you just round the corner and there's a couple of guys, then sure, spam away. But anything at like 15 to 20 meters out, you want to take your time. And what I try to do is I kind of have just a really slow tap, tap, tap. Just a really nice steady beat. And I kind of let the weapon settle before I go for that next engagement so that I can line up a shot and I can be accurate. Because if you go crazy and you just try to take advantage of the rounds per minute, while that first shot may land, the second and third are going to be all over the place. The enemy now knows that you're trying to take them out. They're going to turn around. They're going to see you. And while they might be suppressed and that engagement might be a little sloppy, their bullets might be flying all over the place as well, they eventually will probably win that firefight, and you're gonna be down, you're gonna be dead. So that's gonna be something that we're gonna be wanting to avoid. So I guess kind of my main advice is to kind of go with this with a level head. Go in calm, and when you get into a firefight, be calm about it and let your gun settle back in. get your accuracy down, line up your shot each and every single time, and I can guarantee if you do that, if you practice like that, not only is your kill-death ratio going to skyrocket, but so is your accuracy, and so is your enjoyment. So now the final thing that I wanted to mention today, just before I kind of wrap things up, is to remember that these rifles have a surprisingly slow bullet travel speed. It's slower than the bolt-action rifles, surprisingly slower than a lot of the assault rifles out of there. So if you go for anything at range, understand, or at long range, understand that you're gonna have to aim higher above their head than you might be used to. It's weird. I don't know exactly why DICE decided to do this. When I think of a high-powered rifle, I assume that it's going to travel extremely quickly and get to its destination fast, but that's not the case for these guns. I'm sure they did it for balancing reasons, but just know going into things that if you want to go for anything at range, you're going to have to aim a little bit higher over their head. If they're moving, you're going to have to compensate a little bit more as well. It's not impossible to take people out at those distances, but just know that it's just something that you have to keep in mind. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and so until tomorrow, have a good one and take it easy.